Yes, a quick confirmation. Can I move on for the next one? Okay, great. So now once you're out of the CRUD operation, one now is going to be create operation. So what do we do for that? As usual, you go create a user defined method here, which is create. Okay, I'll create a method saying save. And since it is a create operation, you will not return back anything. So the return type is going to be void. Okay, so now I will say repo dot, the CRUD method which does the create operation is save itself. So you'll call repo dot save. Now when you wanted to do a create operation, you have to tell what product information has to be saved. So you say product. Okay. So this product has to be saved. This is what given over here. Now you have to call this save method in your controller class. How do you do that? You create a user defined method again. So I will create a user defined method for create, which is going to be public void add. And I have to add what? I have to add the product details. So I'll say product. And over here, I have to call the save method inside my service class. I'll say save of product. That's it. You are done with your create operation. But you have to give the respective annotation. What was the annotation name? It is post mapping. Post is the method and mapping. So here you give the mapping message, which is /products, and you get the permission. So here we have missed giving the annotation. Since it's a retrieval operation, the annotation remains the same, which is @get and mapping. And you give the mapping message, which is products, and with the ID for which you wanted to retrieve it. So everyone clear with create operation? Quick confirmation. Okay, done. Now the next operation which we will do is update operation. Now when it comes to update operation, it is a combination of retrieve by ID and create. Why? You have to tell for which ID you are going to update it. So ID or retrieval is required. After retrieving, after finding it out, you will give a certain information to be saved. Correct? So now here, it's a combination of create and retrieve. So you can reuse your methods. Retrieve by ID method and update, and create and update. Since it's reused over here also you can reuse. I'll do a copy of this retrieve by ID, and here I update. And here this I'll say it to be update. And what am I going to update? It depends on the user. So I will give a question mark. Okay. And since I told it's a combination of your retrieve by ID and the product, so you have to select this product. But here, one small thing is missing, which is you are requesting a body of information to be stored. So you say @request body. And you save this particular, get the permission. So you should add both the arguments of create and retrieve by ID. So giving your request body, product and product, path variable, integer ID. Done. Now you look for the ID, and since it is already created, see here duplicate local variable. So I'm just renaming the variable as exist product. So this part of retrieve by ID is copied, and again I'm doing whichever ID is retrieved. I wanted to save this product information. So this is for ID retrieval. This is for saving. Later on, you end up telling the status to be okay. And in case if the ID is not available, you give the status to be not found. And for this, the annotation is put nothing. And since it's a combination of retrieve by ID and the save, so here you have to give the ID. And you save or get the permission. That's it. Put operation is very, very easy since we have already started with retrieve and create. Clear? Is everyone clear with put? I didn't do anything new. I just did a combination. And finally, the delete operation is left out. So for delete, we go creating a user-defined method which will have a return type of void, which is delete itself. What ID you have to delete? So integer ID. And you say repo dot delete by ID. And you tell the ID. Done. Coming here, you write a user-defined method delete I am creating a user-defined method which is public void delete, and whenever you are working with ID, you should use the annotation @path variable. So you say @path variable integer ID, and here you say service dot delete method. It is done. And again, what is the mapping message you give? @delete mapping, and you give the mapping of products slash the respective ID to be deleted and get the permission. Is that clear? So we are done with CRUD operation. What we have done, if you have noticed it, it is just all the method calls. Here I'm calling all the methods which is inside service. In service, I'm calling all the methods inside my product repository. Product repository gets the method from the JPA repository. So here is the end of your project implementation of your, 90% of your project implementation is done. But now here comes your next question. Now, I am telling that it is getting connected to database, whatever available in the database, everything. But where will it get connected if you ask me? Or how will you inform if you ask me? You have one more folder saying SRC main resources, which is application properties. Here, you have to give the URL of your workbench, username of your workbench, password of your workbench, and the port number. So everyone, during the time of screening, you would have known about MySQL workbench, correct? MySQL workbench, yes. That time of installation, you would have given a username and password. Username may be root itself, and password suggested would be admin123. Yes or no? Yeah, so the same thing you have to give it over here. Right now, I'll take it from the previous project, and whichever password you have given, the general password is admin123. But in case if you have given a different password, please do give the appropriate password. Okay, here application properties, and here I will say B73 project. What is this? This is your URL of your MySQL workbench. In this URL, this is the database. And this is the username, password, and in which port number you are going to work on. You can give any port number between 8080 to 8089. I have given 8082. Okay. Now your one part of your backend is ready. Now I'm going to reshare my screen so that you can see my SQL workbench also. So is my screen visible? Yeah. So now let me open my SQL workbench. Inside this, let it get open. Okay. So in which I'll create the database, which is B73 project. How will I create the database? Here you'll have your icon for creation. If you press that, this window will open. Give a name for your project and apply it. I mean, give a name for your database and apply it and finish it. So B73 project is created, into which, the table you have to create it. Right click on table, create a table. So what was our entity name? It is product, correct? Then you should give the same name as your table also. It is product over here. Next, you have ID, name and price as your entities. So coming here, you have to give ID, which is primary key, not null. So PK is nothing but primary key. I tell this will always be unique. There can be no duplication. Next, it is name. So it is going to be not null. Next, it is going to be price, wherein the data type is going to be float. Okay, which is not null. And I'll give an apply and the table will be created. Now, if you see inside your B73 project, the table is created. If you go to the right hand side, you'll have your icon of table open. When you click that, your table will be open, which is ID, name and price. Now, your database is ready. Your Spring tool is ready. Now, from where are we going to give? I told you this is your web application. Yes or no? Did I tell you about that? This is your web application.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now I will open a a new tab. Okay, so maybe let me reshare the screen. I guess it has been stopped. Okay, so what should you do? You should go for a new tab and in your browser be type tabbed postman. Okay, when you go to this, the first website is what the current, the REST client one. Tap on that. It is an extension. So when you open that, this is how you will be able to see your web page. Okay, now here, add to Chrome. So that it will be added. Add the extension. So it will be added as an extension to your Chrome. So let it get added. Yeah. So now it is added. So now if you go to this icon, you'll be able to see tabbed postman. Okay. So here, if you tap on that, your postman will be opening. This is how it will be working, which is your REST API. Now here is the place where we are going to give the URL. Here is the place we are going to select the operation required to be done and send it. So what will be your URL? You have to type localhost and it is running on which port number? It is running on 8082. Correct? So coming here, you have to give 8082 followed with the mapping message of your required operation. If I wanted to do retrieve all, then I give slash product. Retrieve by ID slash product and ID. Then create slash product. Whatever you have given, you have to give accordingly. So now I'll give slash products and I'll enable the get method. But before sending this, just give me a minute. Okay, sorry for the disturbance, guys, again. So I'll share the screen again, and I hope it is visible. So now I have told you about what you should give in a URL and the select the method. But before sending this, make sure you run your project. Okay. So and the second thing is, whenever you are using your port number in a day, you can use your port number only for once. You cannot use more than once. Now see here, when I run this application, you will get your output. But see here, your program is running, but you will get an error because I've already used 8082. In case if I have not used it, you will not get your error. It depends on which port number you are working on. Okay, now let me rerun. See, right now I ran it for first time, right? Now I'm rerunning it. Could you see a warning which says application failed to start, and the description was port number 8082 was already in use. Whenever you come up with such kind of error, do not panic. It's just because you are reusing your port number. In that case, please do go and change your port number. You may ask me, ma'am, in one day if I run more than 10 times, what will I do? Then don't change the port number. Here you will be able to see relaunch your application. See here, I have 8082 and I get an error. But when I relaunch it, instead of rerunning it, I will not get the error. See, now you did not get an error. Is that clear? How do you handle the scenario? Okay, did I get any response? Because I have shared the screen. Only if you unmute and respond, I'll be able to know. Okay, great, good. So now moving forward, go to your postman and now send it. You will get a pop-up like this. In that case, please do allow, and you will get your respective inputs in your table. Now, what happened? Which project ran? It is B70 product model application run. But which project we created? The wrong project was run. So I'll select this and I'll run as a Spring Boot app. Now let's see. Is it creating an issue with the port number? If that is the case, we'll relaunch. No issues. Yeah. So I'll relaunch. Okay, again it is creating an issue. Let me go with changing the numbers. These are the multiple possibilities which you have. Whichever works that moment, you please do go with it. Now I have given 8083. So it is again running. Yeah. So now your program ran. How will you get to know which project ran? So here you will see the public static void main name, which is B70 product model, which was the port number 8083. So coming to your tabbed postman, you should give the updated port number, which is 8083, which is products. Now when I send it, give allow, you get an empty list. Why? Because in your B73 project, in that you have product table, which is an empty table. That is why you get an empty list. Now, see here, I will give one. I'll tell the product name was Vivo Mobile and I'll say some price and I'll apply and finish. Now, when I resend it, could you see the result over here? Yes. Yes. Now see here, I'll give one more input. I'll say Oppo mobile and 34.56. I'll give an apply and finish. Now, if you come here and resend it, Could you see both the product details? This is retrieve all. In case if you wanted to do retrieve by ID, what is the mapping message? It is get mapping only. What should you give as your mapping message? Along with products, you have to give ID. So coming here, products /1. I wanted my first product detail. So I'll send this, you get your first product. See here, only first product. When I say 2, you get your second product. In case if I give 3, this is exception concept which we have written. Product 3, which is not there in your table. But when I try sending it, you get 404 status over here. We know 404 is not found status code. So this is retrieval operation. In case if you wanted to do create, instead of manually going and entering your table, you wanted to create it from here. So here you say post and given header. What type of input you are going to give, you have to tell. You are going to give a content type and the value will be of application /JSON. And you have to select this raw. And for the first time users, it will be text. And right now I added my extension, right? So for me also it is text. So here you have to give JSON type and give the format within the curly braces. You have to enter your input one by one. In case if you find it difficult, what do? You redo the get operation. You will get your output here. Now go for post operation and do a copy from here and paste it. It's a shortcut. Then change the ID number as 3 and maybe a different product. I'll say 1 plus, which is going to be 112.34. Now, if you send it, you get the status of 200 and in your MySQL workbench, could you see the data being added, which we have sent it from our URL in?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, this is create operation. Now next, if you wanted to do update operation, what is the mapping message? It is put method with ID to be given. So coming here, you select a put method and I wanted to update for my product number 1. So you have to give that. And for post, for create and update, which is post and put, this header should be enabled where you should have content type application JSON. If you don't give that, media type not supported will be your error. Okay. Now here for the ID 1, which is Oppo, the product price was 2.34. Now I am updating it to 12.34. See here, you have 2.34. Or else I'll give some different number only. So I'll say 56.78. Now if you send, your status is 200. Coming here, when you refresh your table, could you see it is getting updated here, which is 56.78? Yes? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. So now moving forward, the left out operation is delete. For delete, what was the mapping message? It is again product with the ID to be deleted and the method name is delete itself. So coming here, you tell ID 1 to be deleted and you select the delete method and you just send it. So status is 200 and coming here, when you refresh your table, the ID 1 was deleted. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Basically, you are going to do 4 operations. Instead of doing everything in a single application, you send your inputs from the web. It will be sent to a Spring Tool suite and the results will be reflected in your web, the database. It is a complete backend of your web work which we do. And for that, we are relying on Postman, which is one of the extension which I'm using. Even we have an application, you can